There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk 20 years of Marvel Legends, and more to the point, let's look at every single Marvel Legend made ever. So here we go, guys. I didn't want to beat around the bush, so this is it. We are going to run through just pictures of every single Marvel Legend ever made. And for these early ones, these Toy Biz years and the early Hasbro years, I got these pictures from marvellegends.net. So guys, go over to marvellegends.net where you can see literally thousands of pictures just like this. It is an incredible labor of love that these dudes have done to just curate all of these incredible pictures of the figures that started it all, and then carried on and made more and more figures. They cover a lot of them. All right. So when we first look at these early pictures, we can see that some of the Marvel Legends, hoo-ha, it was a mixed bag. Let's just say that. But we could see the little flashes and glimmers of greatness. You know, some of the figures like the Green Goblin with the Norman Osborn eyes underneath still holds up today. And then we've got ones like Rogue or Scarlet Witch, which do not fare quite so well. And that was a funny thing about the Toy Biz years and the Toy Biz figures, is that there was so much variance in the different sculpts, I suppose. Some looked fantastic and some looked awful, and there were all points in between. By the way, some of you might be wondering, like, dude, this is a list and just pictures of all of the Marvel Legends ever made. Why do we have to look at your stupid face? Well, that's a fair question. And the reason I'm doing the little picture-in-picture thing is that, honestly, me personally, I reckon it would be kind of boring to just sit there and just stare at images for 20 minutes. And I was thinking I could put some music on in the background or something, but then I thought, you know what? I do enjoy the sound of my own voice. So that's what you're getting. So if you really do enjoy this little trip down memory lane, but you're not a fan of me kind of goofing off in the corner, then let me know in the comments. And I could always just post this video unedited, because that's something we can do. I see I've got the video playing in front of me. I'm watching it in my peripherals. And I can see that we were just hitting the Riders wave. And now we're going to the big time Build-A-Figure sort of era. I saw the big old Apocalypse Build-A-Figure come up. And this is an interesting one, actually. I never had the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure, but I did manage to get the more modern Build-A-Figure. I never had the Toy Biz one, which was just towering over everything. And I always kind of lamented, like, I like the Hasbro Build-A-Figure, but man, it would have been nicer to have had a bigger, beefier, taller, more terrifying looking Apocalypse. And just now, as of this week, Diamond Select have shown preview renders or just mock-ups of what will be their Apocalypse, and oh my goodness, it looks really, really good. So I'm kind of psyched to see what that's going to be, but I've rolled the dice. I've taken a little bit of a chance, and I've decided to sell my Hasbro Build-A-Figure in the hopes that the Select one is going to be decent. Will it be? Select have a pretty good track record, especially for bigger figures. Characters like Hulk and Juggernaut that should naturally, for all intents and purposes, be larger than your average Legend. They work great when you combine Selects with Hasbro Marvel Legends, because then the scales work out fantastically. So I'm really hoping that we get a great looking Select Apocalypse. My only worry really is just how long it's going to take, because Select like to take their time. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, a delayed figure is delayed for a short amount of time, whereas a bad figure, just bad forever. So yeah, I'm going to be apocalypseless on my shelf for a while, but that's okay. It'll all right itself eventually. I also just saw there's a character that we haven't had in a modern form for a while, which I really want to see, which is quite randomly Jigsaw. There was a Punisher 2-pack with Jigsaw, and let's face it, Punisher doesn't have that many figures figures or characters who are kind of exclusive to him. So it'd be nice to kind of build out the Punisher's Rogues Gallery a bit more. And then also I just clocked the Blob. Oh my goodness, that is one of the most expensive Build-A-Figures that we have going at the moment right now. People are clamoring for another Blob because that old one came out such a long time ago. And the fact of the matter is, we've got so many great Brotherhood type characters coming out now. Of course, we had Mystique, who I still need, but then we've got Pyro as well, and you've got Juggernaut back there, and Black Tom, who's maybe not Brotherhood, but, you know, classic X-Men villains. So it would be so great to get another big Blob character, and then we can get an Avalanche as well, and we can really start to round out those classic X-Men lineups. Because honestly, I'm finding more and more that it is the classic, iconic, and 90s designs that I really want to go for. Hasbro are doing a great job of giving us more modern figures as well, and that's awesome. That's what keeps the collecting alive, you know? But characters that are from, for example, like House of X, or some of the more recent storylines, I'm like, they look kind of cool, but I just don't really have an investment in them. It was very rare that I'll buy an entire wave of figures to do a review and then just sell the whole thing. But that's what happened with the House of X. Actually, you know what? I tell a lie. I didn't sell the entire wave. I kept Moira McTaggart because that body is fantastic for a retro Mary Jane. You've got the retro Mary Jane head that came with Gwen Stacy. So yeah, that actually works really, really well. So I was happy to keep her. But besides that, the rest of the wave, out the door. And so I'm trying to be a bit more selective about what it is that I collect. And then I just saw, in the old peripherals again, Nemesis. I was going to say his other name, but that's been changed. It's Nemesis from the Age of Apocalypse. And I'm still waiting on my Age of Apocalypse Wave 2 to arrive, which is a bit of a tease because I've literally held them in my hands in store shelves. I'm like, I ordered these guys way back when they were announced. So it's like, come on, folks. I want my Age of Apocalypse. I'm a huge 90s mark. So, of course, I want to bulk out that wave, and I'm so hoping that we get a third wave as well to give us a new Nemesis, because that's also a super expensive Build-A-Figure as well. So if we can round out the AOA, that would be so, so good. Once Hasbro complete that, then finally they can move on to the Clone Saga. They've just been teasing me with little hints. And when I say little hints, it is very little. We've got another Ben Reilly Sensational Spider-Man, which I'm not mad about. I mean, I'll take all the Ben Reilly figures, but at the same time, it's like the Sensational Spider-Man we had was really, really good. The Pizza Buck looks a little bit skinny now, but still, I loved that figure. The fact that it came with the Carnage head and hands, so you can make Spider Carnage, which of course meant that I bought two figures. I mean, be crazy not to, am I right? But yeah, I would love to see a 90s Jackal and a Spider-Side and a 90s Kane and Stunner, maybe Doc Ock in the white costume, in the white, like business suit. That would work fantastically for me. I could just spend the rest of this list talking about the figures that I desperately want to see. And a lot of them have been covered before. I've done previous lists like top 100 figures that, Hasbro need to make, or top 50 Spider-Man characters we still need to see. Those lists are my bread and butter. That's what seems to get a lot of views. And also, speaking of getting lots of views and this and that, people were asking, are you going to try to reach out to Hasbro? Because they have been working with a lot of YouTubers. And that was something I was really kind of torn on, because I feel like maybe I kind of knock the company a bit too much to work directly with them. It would feel a little bit false. So, I mean, if they wanted to offer me a figure to review or to announce, reveal, that's the word I was looking for. If they wanted me to reveal a figure, oh my goodness, of course I would. But at the same time, I would be like, yes, this is a figure, this looks really cool, these are the points I like, and these are the points I'm not so hot on. And I think I will always kind of take that sort of stance, because I'm too old and curmudgeonly, really, to play the game. I'm not a game player. My girlfriend hates that about me. She's like, you always just tell me exactly what you think and how you feel. what kind of game is that? It's like, what do you mean you just say whatever you think? That's not fair. Well, it does make for some more interesting videos, that's for sure. Speaking of my wish list, again, just in the old peripherals, I saw Red Costume Daredevil. How have we not got another Red Costume Daredevil, I ask you? It's egregious that we're still waiting on this, especially with the retro SpiderMan Buck being out. Like, that would be perfect for Daredevil. Whack a couple of horns on his head, quick little repaint. Come on, Hasbro, you love repaints. I know we'll get it eventually, but I feel like with Doctor Strange just about to come out, and that Doctor Strange looks amazing, by the way, with him about to come out, really the only big missing component of my collection is Red Daredevil. So once I get him, I'll feel like, look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? And that's the thing with collecting. Of course it's never going to be complete. It's never going to be actually finished, because as recently we just saw, once you've got everything, there's a new version of everything to get. We've just had the animated X-Men line announced, and this I'm kind of torn on. I think it's a perfectly good idea. I'm not against it. The figures look pretty. Because they're not just repaints. They've tweaked a couple of things here and there, but on the whole, none of it is enough to make me want to get the whole other wave. Because believe you me, I spent enough. I spent enough building the Jim Lee collection. I don't need to get any more of those figures or to buy them again. That would just be absolutely crazy. So I think what I'm going to do is just let other folks get those animated figures. But the difficulty is, what's a bit of a shame, is that because there are some figures that I still need, like Mystique, for example. If I get Mystique, I'd be like, oh yeah, awesome, fantastic, I've got Mystique. But she's kind of cell shaded, and that's the thing. Like, I just saw them announce the new Sinister. I thought, great, Sinister looks awesome. But then again, if I didn't have Sinister and I wanted to get that one for my collection, I wouldn't be too thrilled about it, because I'd be thinking, he looks out of place, because all these 616 painted characters and then this funny looking cell shaded kind of one looks like he should be next to the NECA Ninja Turtles. That was another big sale I made recently. I've sold off all my NECA Turtles. They just weren't sparking joy. I think it's because I had so many negative experiences with them when I first got them. First of all, I accidentally bought a knockoff one. Then there was, fear of breaking the other ones, and it's just like the feeling that the figures are made out of almost like clay, like terracotta. They just feel so fragile. I was like, I'm not getting the play factor out of these. And that's something I will say for Marvel Legends. The plastic they use, I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm not no expert. Get out of here. But when I'm playing and flexing and moving a Marvel Legend, I don't worry about it breaking. I really, really don't. It's on the rarest of occasion that I might feel like, oh, that joint's a bit stiff, I better be careful with that. It can happen, especially on the slightly more spindly joints, like the elbows. But on the whole, when I get a Marvel Legend, I feel like I can take him out of the box, pop him out of the plastic and be like, yep, this is great, I can pose him. Or more to the point, I can let him drop off the shelves. Because Lord knows, these things fall off my shelves all the time. And it's not a worry. It's not a problem. If I hear a crash, first of all, I'll cringe and be like, "Ay!" And then I'll look and see what it is. And if it's my Marvel Legends shelf, I'm like, those things are built to last. So that's something that's nice to not have to worry about. Although, having said that, you alright there? Do you want to come up? Ooh, come here. Come here. Someone was feeling very left out, weren't you? There you go. You can settle down. So, yeah, what was I saying? I kind of went off of Hasbro a little bit recently because of problems with quality control. That became a real issue for me because I was like, guys, why are you playing me like this? It was the Ursa Major wave I got recently, and there were about 3 different figures that all had a defect of some sort. I know that the one I was most looking forward to, the 90s Iron Man, he had like a stiff shoulder that wouldn't move, and then like when I tried to move it, I saw that there was lots of like plastic from the mold still kind of stuck there, and his legs were super wobbly, so you couldn't really stand him up very well. That was a real disappointment. And then the guardsman, his paint was just all over the place, blotchy and smeared, and I'm like, come on, son, you're racking up the prices, but you can't even double check your quality control? Not good. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was when I got my Sentinel, and the box was mashed up, and he had a paint defect on his face. And in fairness, you can say, like, well, look, it's not Hasbro's fault that the box got mashed up. They're not the ones delivering it. Nah. Not accepting that. You are the ones who choose how it's going to be distributed. All right? If you choose a bad delivery service, then that's going to happen. I think that's why Galactus is now coming through Hasbro Pulse. Because they're like, yeah, sorry, Xavi and the people that they work with, I forget. Hermes! That was it. The fact that people were like already cringing that it was Hermes before it even happened. They're like, oh, this is going to be a problem. I spent a year worrying that I was going to get a bashed up box, and lo and behold, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that kind of turned me off a little bit. But the thing is with Hasbro, they keep pulling you back, don't they? Because for everything that, like, there's a problem, there's also going to be a figure where you think, oh man, that's really beautiful. Case in point, the most recent announcement of the Iron Spider, which kind of chipped my bananas because I just bought the amazing Yamaguchi Iron Spider. I was like, finally, I've got this Iron Spider. And then Hasbro were like, oh yeah, we've got one too. Like, son of a biscuit. But there you go, that's fine. The Yamaguchi one is still incredible. And I'll definitely buy the Hasbro Iron Spider because, granted, we've only seen 2 pictures of it, but it looks really good. It looks really, really good. So I will jump at the chance to pick that up as well. I can do a little comparison review. Happy days. But I'm trying to go for more quality over quantity with my action figures now, because I've realized that I've kind of reached maximum capacity for what I can enjoy as a human being. You can only see so much, you can only appreciate so much. So, while some figures you see every day and they're pride of place on the shelves and you're like, yeah, that's a nice figure. Other ones are just getting lost and covered in dust and falling over in the back of display cabinets, and it's like, if that figure has a thick layer of dust on it, then chances are I'm not really getting the most out of it, so therefore, should probably get rid of it. So with that in mind, like, I've sold off my Fantastic Fours. I've sold off my Walgreens Fantastic Four, and I've sold off my Super Skrull Wave Fantastic Four. And actually, when I get the retro ones, I think I'll probably do reviews of them, and then probably sell them as well. Because with all that money combined, and then a little bit extra, I could get the Mezco Fantastic Four, and they look crazy. They look so pretty and impressive. They could be an iconic team, because that's another thing I realized, like, as much as it pains me, I don't need every single version of every single character ever made. Maybe for Spider-Man. For Spider-Man, I will go with that. I'm happy to pick up every single Spidey. But, I don't need 3 rogues, I don't need 2 gambits. With that in mind, I'm going to be thinning out the collection more so that the things that I do have, I can really, really appreciate. Because there was a short time where I thought to myself, you know what, maybe I could just buy, literally, I could buy every Marvel Legend that comes out, and I can do features and reviews on them, and I can make that like my niche, like, I'm the Marvel Legends guy. And then Hasbro jacked up the price, which I appreciate. Prices are going up all over the world. Like, that's just the way it is. So I get it. But at the same time, that means I cannot afford to just buy everything. That's cuckoo bananas bonkers. So instead, I am going to just pick and choose. And rather than being the Hasbro guy or the Marvel Legends guy, I'll just be the little bit of everything kind of guy. I hope that folks come to this channel, not specifically for Marvel Legends, but just more for the bants about toys, because that will always be a passion, and that's the nice thing. Even if I might, fall out of love with Legends sometimes, I'll always just adore action figures. So there will always be the love of the genre and all the different pieces that come out there. And to be honest, all it takes is just one great wave from Marvel Legends, and I'll be back there with open arms being like, yes, I love you. Oh, sorry, Piglet. I scared her there. which they always do. I mean, the new SpiderMan retro wave coming out looks fantastic. There's a couple there that I'm more excited for than others, but at the same time we got Hammerhead. Hammerhead looks great, and you can see the evolution of these figures and the sculpting and the work that goes into them. There's some lovely, lovely stuff there. So yeah, with the Spider-Man retro wave, with Hammerhead, Shocker, after saying how excited I am, I've completely forgotten now. But then there's the Hobgoblin as well, and that's kind of a boring redesign. And that's something where you've always got to be so careful, because when there are rumors of new figures coming out of highly sought after action figures, you think like, oh, should I sell my rare figure when it's as expensive as it's ever going to be, and then I'll just buy the new version? And I was tempted to do that, I've got to admit. The little grubby, money-hungry little creature inside me was like, I could sell my Hobgoblin now, and then just buy the new one. But I didn't get around to it. Not because I'm sensible, but more just because I am just forgetful and didn't get around to doing it. And then when I saw the new one announced, I was like, whoo! Ha! Dodged a bullet there. Because if I sold that old Hobgoblin, then the only one I could get is the new one, I would be gutted. Because it's like, the new one just doesn't look that good. It looks like they've taken the old one and stripped a bunch of details off and slapped some, like, brighter, dare I say, slightly tackier looking paint on it. And it's like, here you go. And they'd be like, well, that doesn't fit with the rest of my 1980s Spider-Man set, so I guess I just done played myself. And what's the first rule? Don't play yourself. So, yeah, I dodged a bullet there. But that is exactly what I'm doing with Apocalypse. So, Select, I'm relying on you, okay? I'm relying on you to give me a decent Apocalypse. We're getting almost fully up to date now with the video. I'm seeing that it's ticking up in years. We're kind of current now. I see we're showing the Age of Apocalypse Wave 2, if I've synced up this video with what you're seeing. And again, that's the one that I'm still waiting on at the moment. But still, we're moving on to the Spider-Man, what is it? Not Enter the Spider-Verse, No Way Home wave. And oh my goodness, that's a film that I'm A, so looking forward to, and B, so terrified of trying to avoid all the spoilers and trailers and pictures. And it's like, it's so difficult to just be on the internet and also want to get hype for films, because they just keep on showing more and more stuff. And I'm like, stop, you're ruining it. Because that was the shame when I went to see Far From Home. When I went to see Far From Home, I was kind of bored in the cinema, because I was like, I know everything that's going to happen. You're going to introduce Mysterio as a good guy. They're going to be fighting a lava monster. They're going to be fighting a water monster. Then obviously Mysterio is going to do the turn and be bad, and then Spider-Man's going to have to beat him. And then lo and behold, you just go to the cinema and watch it play out. Granted, I know that when you announce Mysterio as the villain, of course you kind of know, like, well, that's sort of the structure it's going to take. But it was so shown to you that, yeah, it reveals too much, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, that's far too much whinging and moaning. If no one's seen this channel before, you're probably going to come on here and just be like, geez, why does this guy even talk about action figures? He clearly hates them. No, I love them. That's why I obsessively make videos about them. But I think when you care so much about something, that's when you see all the flaws and foibles as well, because that's what your mind kind of focuses on, is the highs, the lows, and the creamy middles. And Lord knows, when Hasbro do it right, my goodness, they do it right. I just saw that new Doctor Strange coming out, and he looks phenomenal. And then to wrap it all up with the most up-to-date figure we could possibly get, it is next year's HasLab Galactus, which looks incredible. And folks, that was every single Marvel Legend ever made. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but you didn't have Vulcan in there, you didn't have this, you didn't have that. It's like, you gotta stop at some point. Okay? I was genuinely just putting off doing this video over and over and over, because I was like, just gotta wait for this reveal, gotta wait for that reveal. Sometimes you gotta draw the line and say, right, we're doing it. So guess what? We done it. And I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did, then thank you so much for watching. If you didn't, then you watched until the end? Wow. I hope you found some enjoyment. out of it. But if you really want to support the channel, you can do by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you super want to support the channel, you can go over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior. Throw a few shekels my way. But guys, whatever you do, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Chill.
Coffee, big time.